She'll never tell you, but every woman has a hidden switch. Flip it, and you unlock a level of attraction that feels almost too powerful. Machiavelli understood one core truth: control perception, and you control desire. What you're about to discover isn't luck or trickery. It's a strategic approach to connection so effective, it redefines the game. Prepare yourself. After this, nothing will look the same. She won't say it aloud, but within every woman is a quiet trigger, a point that responds powerfully when a man embodies the right mix of presence, intention, and depth. This has zero to do with looks, wealth, or practice scripts. It's about comprehending the emotional blueprint of attraction. Once you learn this mechanism, connecting feels effortless, even unfair. Everything flows so naturally she believes it was her idea all along. You merely guided the choice. That's where it starts. Subtle, elegant, and deliberate. The first rule: women aren't drawn to the obvious. The obvious is predictable, and predictability is boring. What sparks her interest is the sense that she's encountering a man who sees deeper, knows more, and feels no rush. Machiavelli cautioned that haste surrenders power. It reveals a need for approval. So, you never show hunger, never show desperation. You carry yourself as if you already have what you seek. That's when she starts to question what you know that others don't. An attraction that unfolds as smoothly can feel illicit because it disarms her defenses before they even form. This doesn't come from magic phrases, but from micro-signals. The gaze that holds for 1 second longer. The slight, knowing smile. The calm of a man unafraid of quiet. Women perceive all this with a radar most men ignore. She reads your posture. She notes the rhythm of your breath. She senses the ease with which you occupy a room. Your words don't captivate her. Your presence does. The common mistake is trying to cover insecurity with excess. Too much talking, too much explaining, too much praise. And that excess broadcasts a lack of value. As Machiavelli would note, revealing too much kills mystery. And mystery is the engine of true attraction. What's difficult to decipher becomes impossible to ignore. Don't hand her your entire story. Offer selected pages, half-finished thoughts, deliberate hints. Her imagination will fill the gaps. And her imagination works for you long before any physical contact. But guiding a woman with this level of ease isn't about intellectual games. It's like tending a delicate flame. Hold it firmly enough so it doesn't die, gently enough so you don't smother it. The secret is making every step feel spontaneous. You plant small seeds. You let them grow quietly. When she finally notices what's happening, she's already fully invested. Not because you pressured her, but because you crafted the conditions for her to walk that path herself. It all begins with your energy. Energy isn't mystical. It's behavioral communication. If you arrive tense, she tenses. If you arrive unsure, she closes off. But if you arrive with the quiet assurance of a man with nothing to prove, her entire inner world shifts to understand you. That curiosity is step one. Once you spark the right kind of curiosity, the rest unfolds almost automatically. She starts watching you more than others. She listens to your words with unusual focus. She imagines scenarios without conscious thought. The real connection happens inside her mind, not yours. Women are acutely tuned to perceive value, not displayed value. Displayed value can feel artificial. Perceived value feels genuine. You demonstrate value in how you handle surprises, in your lack of need for approval, in speaking with measured pace, in keeping your composure when others would unravel. Every detail amplifies your impact. She can't quite explain why she feels differently, but she feels it. And that's everything. It's in this space, between conscious thought and unconscious feeling, that attraction starts to feel unbelievably direct. Not because you manipulate, but because you operate on a level most people miss. You connect with internal points that exist beyond words. Before she knows it, she's sending signals, play with her hair, shifting her posture, glancing your way, asking questions that seem casual but carry weight. She begins to want your focus. And there is no greater influence than that. When she senses you control the pace, she naturally moves to your rhythm. But you keep the lightness, the charm, the calm of a man who could walk away at any time. And because you could walk away, she wants you to stay. The mind treasures what it believes it can lose. Machiavelli knew this. Women know this. Now you learn to apply it as a silent art. This approach continues where ordinary men quit, in the realm of subtlety. Here, you see women don't fall for sheer force, but for gradual layers, almost invisible layers that build within her unnoticed. The goal isn't to impress her. It's to gently replace her initial idea of you with the impression you wish to convey. And you construct that with small, natural impacts she'd never label as strategy. The first layer is emotional space. Become a breath of fresh air. Everyone wants something from her. Family, work, friends. But not you. You become the zone where she can unwind, where she doesn't need to perform or compete. Your energy communicates. I'm not here to challenge you. I'm here to truly see you. That feeling disarms any woman. The power is in wanting nothing immediately, while making it clear you are present by choice, not from need. The second layer is controlled unpredictability. This doesn't mean vanishing or being cold. It means being slightly less available than she anticipates, yet more present in quality than other men can manage. A calculated balance. You reply when you decide, but when you do, it's meaningful. You don't disappear from ego. You simply have a full life. The moment she notices this, she adapts to your tempo. Your time gains value because you don't give it away freely. Men who come on too strong make her lose interest just as fast. What's too easy feels inexpensive. Machiavelli would say power lives in the other side's uncertainty. She must feel she can earn your interest, but not instantly. Connection is a dance of stimulation and restraint. You reveal a little, pull back a little, engage a little, stay quiet a little. Each action leaves a faint trail for her to follow without realizing it. The third layer is selective attention. You don't compliment everything. You don't validate every move. You pick your moments. And when you choose, the impact is doubled. Women distinguish between an automatic compliment and an intentional one. Automatic sounds generic. Intentional resonates emotionally. Telling her you're beautiful is common. Noting the way you tuck your hair when you're curious is captivating. Hits deeper. It shows you're paying real attention. To be genuinely seen is rare and intensely compelling. The fourth layer is emotional steadiness. She will test you. It's instinctive. She'll provoke, poke, tease, create small challenges, not to disrespect you, but to map your internal framework. She needs to know if you're stable, if you have self-command, if you won't fracture over minor things. If you react with annoyance, you lose. If you react with neediness, you lose. But if you respond with humor, with calm, with graceful detachment, you gain more ground than any rehearsed line ever could. The real advantage begins in tranquility. You keep while others lose control. Then comes a fifth layer, physical presence without urgency. It's not touching too soon, not rushing toward impulsive kisses. It's allowing your body language to enter her space gradually. The closeness of your face when you speak softly. A light, brief touch on her arm. The gaze that dips and returns. Not like a hunter, but like someone appreciating a view. Women interpret these details with high resolution. It's not the touch itself, but the intention behind it. When your intention is mature, calm, and grounded, she senses it. She feels herself becoming more intrigued than she intended. This is when it starts to feel incredibly effective, because you didn't take anything. You didn't force a thing. You didn't conquer directly. You simply open a space where she allowed herself to feel. And when a woman permits herself to feel, the entire dynamic changes. Now she thinks of you during her day. She remembers your comments. She looks for your reactions without admitting it. She wonders if you saw her post. She becomes more receptive to conversations she'd usually skip. Crucially, she begins testing you more often. That's the clearest sign you're affecting her. Tests are positive. Tests mean you have impact. She only tests what she's worried about losing. So when provocations arrive, don't confront. Don't complain. Don't dramatize. Smile. Reframe the moment. Lead. Through that, she learns something rare. You're not just confident. You're at home in your own energy. That combination is nearly extinct. She starts to realize your calm presence relaxes her. Your attention energizes her. Your absence bothers her. Your being near leaves a mark, and that you see past her surface. Nobody resists being seen that deeply for long. True connection occurs when she recognizes you can touch emotional places other men miss. And you do it without rushing, without pushing, simply by existing as a man centered in his own world. When she senses this, when she feels her own interests slipping from her control, she'll try to hide it, rationalize it, pretend she's not involved. But her body, her voice, her eyes will betray her. This is the point where a Machiavellian connection becomes inevitable. The desire is already rooted. You just wait for it to bloom. When a woman starts to feel an emotional impact she can't easily explain, a key shift happens. She begins to see herself through your perspective. Every gesture you make creates a subtle expectation within her, and that expectation guides her behavior. This is the most delicate phase because it demands perfect balance. Too much force makes her withdraw. Too much softness makes her interest fade. It's an exact calibration that everything feels natural, destined, precise. Next, master a simple concept: emotional rhythm. Every woman has an internal tempo, sometimes fast and cluttered, sometimes slow and deep. Most men try to match her rhythm. You don't. You establish your own calm, centered rhythm and invite her to step into it. This changes everything. When your tempo is steadier and more secure, she naturally slows down. She feels she's a man who isn't dragged by chaos, but who navigates it. This contrast creates near-instant attraction. Then deploy one of the most potent tools: conscious silence. Not cold silence, not ignoring her. Silence with purpose. It's the moment you simply watch her speak. Offer a slight smile, tilt your head, and let the moment breathe. Women aren't accustomed to this. They're used to men rushing to fill every quiet gap. When you don't, you create tension. And tension is the oxygen of desire. Another vital point is intelligent humor. Not forced jokes or recycled lines, but sharp, situational wit that shows your perceptiveness. When she prods you, reply with a line that disarms without disrespect. When she tests, answer with calm ease. When she realizes you don't give predictable reactions, she understands she's engaging with someone on a higher level. This humor builds a private connection because it shows you grasp her subtext. Then arrives the most potent phase: atmospheric presence. This is when your presence shifts from physical to psychological. She thinks of you before sleep, in the shower, at work. You enter her thoughts uninvited. This happens because you weren't overwhelming. You were memorable. Every micro-interaction left a deep imprint. It wasn't about quantity, but quality. That's what lets you occupy an emotional space other men never reach. Now, here's where most men err drastically. When they notice the woman getting involved, they accelerate. They push for quick dates, seek guarantees, want to move fast. Machiavelli would never make that error. The moment she starts missing you is when you must be most elegant. The mistake is trying to close the deal. The correct move is allowing her to take small initiatives, not because you need her to, but because it strengthens her psychological investment. Women value what they help build. If she participates, if she sends a first message one day, if she suggests an idea, it creates roots. You don't remove the mystery. You just make room for her to move toward you. That grants her a sense of freedom. And freedom is essential for genuine female desire. When she feels she is choosing you, her interest multiplies. At this stage, begin using proximity with calculation. When talking, lean in slightly closer than normal. Don't touch yet. Just reduce the distance. This activates internal sensors she can't control. Proximity alters her breathing, changes her temperature perception, and releases tiny doses of stimulating chemicals. You don't need to touch. Closeness alone is enough. It creates a magnetic field between you. And when you finally do touch, let it be light. Slow, deliberate touches that seem accidental, but aren't. A touch on the shoulder when she laughs. A brief guide at the hip passing through a crowd. A slow brush of hands when passing an object. Every touch must feel natural and inevitable. Sudden, rushed touches break the spell. Subtle touches build a story her body understands better than her mind. But perhaps the most powerful element is this: how you look at her. The strategic gaze isn't constantly intense. It's calibrated. Sometimes you look deeply and say something meaningful. Sometimes you look away, leaving her wanting. Sometimes you hold eye contact 2 seconds longer than usual. The gaze creates meanings words never can. When she feels you see more than she says, a silent intimacy forms. And silent intimacy is addictive. This is why it all feels incredibly effective. You bypass traditional logic and operate on a deeper emotional wavelength. You connect with parts of her rarely reached. You create an experience, not a technique. You cease to be an option and become an atmosphere. When that happens, She stops comparing you to others. You're no longer a candidate. You become an enigma. An enigma always wins. Then comes the moment you see she's fully invested, but won't admit it. She mentions you to friends, but downplays it. She watches you when you're not looking. She replies to messages quickly, but acts casual. She gives new signals. All this means one thing. You now guide the emotional narrative. Here, you just need the same calm guidance for her to delve deeper. When a woman begins to orbit you emotionally, the game moves to a new layer, silent desire. It's when she's still convincing herself she's in control, but deep down feels something from you seeping into her mind. This is the most sensitive and powerful moment. Act ordinary and you risk losing all. Act with strategic intelligence, and you turn her desire into inevitability. Here, understand something essential. Your role isn't to win her. Your role is to make it impossible for her not to want you. The difference is vast. Men who try to win chase, seek approval. The strategic man creates internal experiences that make a woman drawn to him. Not because he's unreachable, but because he's become emotionally indispensable. The first step of this phase is mastering selective presence. Earlier, you were present to build the bond. Now, you gently reduce frequency, not from coldness, but from strategy. You don't vanish. You just let her feel your absence a little. This creates small emotional gaps her mind fills by thinking of you. And the more she thinks, the more she wants. Intelligent absence is more compelling than constant presence. But this distance is mathematical, not emotional. You never disappear at key moments. You never leave her confused. You simply provide enough space for her to recognize she misses you. When you return, do so with charm, light energy, and comments showing you're still stable and centered. She learns your absence isn't punishment. It's rhythm, a rhythm she starts to follow. The second step is deep connection, built not through obvious questions, but through conversations revealing nuance. While others ask, "What do?" you ask, "What are you looking for?" While others praise her looks, you appreciate her choices, her insights, her subtle gestures. You explore layers almost no one touches. When you connect there, she opens without noticing. That emotional opening creates vulnerability, and vulnerability creates attachment. Here, the game deepens. You become the only man who makes her feel something unique. It's not about passion alone. It's about internal sensations, safety, freedom, mystery, curiosity, intensity. You become the perfect balance between emotional intrigue and psychological comfort. That mix is irresistible. The third step is using sensuality strategically. Strategic sensuality isn't explicit or vulgar. It lives in conversation pauses. Your vocal tone, how you lean closer, how you hold a glass, the movement of your hands, a glance at her lips when unexpected. Sensuality lives in your intention, not your actions. That's why it feels potent. It happens without touch, without pressure, without speed. Then comes the turning point, the moment she realizes she cares. This often shows through subtle jealousy. She inquires about your routine, other women, your plans. She tries to map your emotional landscape. This isn't overt jealousy, but a delicate surveillance, a quiet effort to see if there's competition, if she's losing footing. And this is perfect because it means you're a psychological priority. Here, respond with calculated honesty. Don't promise exclusivity, but don't flaunt other interests. Create the impression you have options but aren't deeply invested in them. This sets the ideal psychological stage. She feels she could lose you, but also feels you're choosing her. When a woman feels this, connection reaches nearly irreversible levels. The fourth step is absolute emotional command. Here, you never show anxiety, never demand explanations, never overreact to small behaviors, never respond dramatically. Maintain the same elegant composure that captivated her initially. This consistency is rare. Ordinary men change once they sense progress. They become needy, emotional, they rush. You don't. You remain firm, stable, centered. This builds admiration. And admiration is stronger than basic attraction. Now, something inevitable occurs. She gives unmistakable signs. Longer messages, faster replies, efforts to extend talks, personal disclosures. Most importantly, she shows care, a kind she wouldn't offer unless emotionally involved. She notices your mood, asks about your day, shares things that remind her of you. Women only do this when already invested. This is where connection feels utterly seamless. You didn't chase, you attracted. You didn't pressure, you guided. You didn't dominate, you influenced. She doesn't feel managed. She feels understood. You become everything she sought but couldn't name. This is a core strategic power in connection. Having her choose you while believing the choice was wholly hers. When you sense she's fully involved, don't change behavior to exploit it. Instead, increase the elegance, the calm, the respect, the depth. Make her feel that being with you is entering an emotional realm few men can access. This transforms her interest into genuine surrender. With her emotional investment solid, the game enters its most refined phase, subtle dependency. Not desperate, not obvious, a light, natural, nearly invisible psychological reliance. It's when she realizes conversations with you affect her more than others. When she notices her day brightens if you appear and feels oddly empty if you don't. When she misses something she never knew she needed. Once this feeling emerges, you have full emotional influence. But this dependency only works when built on 3 elements. 1. Emotional constancy. You stay the same, stable, calm, deep. 2. Light unpredictability. You're not monotonous, but not chaotic. You surprise with comments, looks, small choices. 3. Indirect validation. You acknowledge something in her, without putting her on a pedestal. When these 3 combine, she feels she's found someone rare, someone she doesn't want to lose. At this point, you must grasp a key truth. There's no strategic connection without self-command. The more involved she becomes, the more you must maintain strategic clarity. Not cold distance, but a clear mind. Don't panic. Don't build expectations. Don't depend on her reactions. Women sense the moment a man loses emotional control, and that shatters the magic. The connection that feels incredibly effective is the kind that keeps the enigma alive even when she's fully interested. Speaking of enigma, now is the time to deepen your mysterious side. Not with exaggerated silence, but with depth. Begin sharing stories you've held back, in a measured way. Small memories that hint at who you are, not your entire history. It's not about revealing all. It's about revealing just enough for her to feel she's entering private territory few have seen. This makes her feel she's gained something special, something to protect. Another crucial element is emotional frequency control. She's more open, vulnerable, connected now. So, keep your energy light, but measured. Don't overdo romance. Don't make declarations. Don't hand over your heart. Why? Because the female mind reacts paradoxically. If you give everything, she relaxes and stops investing. If you give just enough to feel value but keep a small invisible reserve, she continues to invest. Connection is a dance, and you lead each step with intent. Then comes one of the most decisive phases, advanced body reading. Now, every gesture she makes speaks. How she positions her legs when talking to you, tilts her head, touches her neck, holds her phone, how close she gets when laughing. Use this intel to adjust your demeanor. When she tilts her head, speak softer. When she leans in, hold firm. Don't pull back. When she touches her hair, simply observe. This synchronized reading creates alignment and multiplies desire exponentially. Touch also enters a new stage. Before it was subtle. Now it can be more present, not invasive, just aligned with the emotional moment. Hold her hand a second longer. Lightly guide her waist in a tight space. Place a hand on her lower back when leading. These touches activate her emotional system, create sensory memories, and link your presence with positive feeling. It's a way of marking territory wordlessly. Then something natural happens. She opens up emotionally. She shares fears, insecurities, past hurts. Not to vent, but because you feel like a stable anchor. Here lies the critical point. Don't get more emotional than she is. Don't try to fix everything. Don't become her therapist. Listen with a steady gaze. Respond with few words. Show understanding without excess. This builds profound trust. And deep trust is one of the most compelling forces in the female psyche. At this stage, she tests you in subtler ways. Slight delays in replies, playful remarks, jokes tinged with jealousy. But now you know the game. Respond with calm. Nothing shakes you. This self-control keeps her desire high because, deep down, a woman seeks a man who isn't emotionally fragile. A man who is an axis, not a weight. A man she can admire, not one she must care for. Then comes a true turning point of strategic connection. She starts to fear losing you. Not a desperate fear, but a soft, internal, quiet one. She realizes you're different, and losing you means losing an emotional experience she can't easily replace. This makes her more affectionate, present, available, open. When she reaches this state, don't exploit it arrogantly. Don't diminish her. Don't wield power against her. Instead, become even more elegant. Show respect, maturity, and calculated attention. Become the man she always wanted but thought didn't exist. And do this without losing mystery, control, or essence. It's in this balance that connection feels incredibly potent, because you guide her emotions without manipulation, influence without force, lead without pressure. You become the presence she chooses, the energy she seeks, the company she desires. Once she knows she's emotionally involved, she opens further, ready to go deeper. When a woman is fully invested emotionally, you enter the most sophisticated phase, psychological possession. This is when she feels, even if unadmitted, that something within her belongs to you. It's territory few reach, requiring finesse, patience, and precise behavioral reading. Here, you no longer need to impress. You need to consolidate. Consolidating differs from conquering. Conquering wins interest. Consolidating turns interest into bond, desire into need, attraction into emotional loyalty. 1. The first method is inverted mirroring. Instead of mirroring her, subtly have her mirror you. This happens naturally as you become her emotional reference. She starts using your phrases, matching your reactions, aligning her mood to your rhythm. This creates a powerful psychological effect. The more she sees herself in you, the closer she feels, and the harder it becomes to leave. 2. The second pillar is emotional exclusivity. This isn't telling her she's special. It's making her feel uniquely seen without saying it. You notice tiny details. You remember her comments. You detect mood shifts instantly. This gives her the impression you perceive her in a way others cannot. Deeply, uniquely. Every woman, even the most independent, craves this. When she feels truly understood, a bond forms that's hard to break. This is where you use one of the most powerful tools, the unspoken. What you don't say carries more weight than what you do. Intentional silences create openings for her to imagine, interpret, and project her desires. The more she projects, the more involved she becomes. The unspoken lets her fill blanks with what she wants, deepening intimacy. Machiavelli knew controlling perception is more effective than controlling action. 3. The third pillar is emotional predictability plus behavioral unpredictability. She knows you're stable, centered, reliable. That never changes. But simultaneously, you're not an open book. You surprise with a deep remark, a slight energy shift, a small unexpected action at the perfect time. This keeps her curious, attentive, emotionally alert. This blend creates chemistry blending comfort and tension. Then comes the most important phenomenon, controlled idealization. She starts seeing in you a collection of qualities she's always sought. Not because you pretended, but because you revealed just enough for her imagination to complete the picture. Idealization is a powerful tool, used responsibly. Never create a false persona. Simply highlight who you truly are, elegantly and intentionally. The fourth pillar is the energy exchange. Feminine energy is highly responsive to masculine energy. When you're calm, she softens. When you're firm, she adjusts. When you look into her eyes with seriousness, her body responds. Energetic connection trumps any verbal technique. It's the feeling your presence alters the atmosphere. This can't be faked. It's built through posture, breath, rhythm, silence, and gaze. It's at this stage she begins taking clearer initiative. She texts first, suggests meetings, reaches out, shows veiled jealousy. When she does, it's not desperation. It's because she feels safe enough to move toward you. This is a strong sign connection has entered its deepest level. However, here lies the danger. Many men, sensing this shift, become overly emotional, speed up, apply pressure, or try to formalize things immediately. This ruins the magic. You maintain the same pace, calm, and firmness. She moves closer. You receive her, but don't throw yourself at her. You allow, but don't surrender completely. You create a dance where she always has room to advance, but never has absolute certainty of what she'll find. Then comes the sensory confirmation phase. Here, every meeting intensifies desire. Touches become more present. Eye contact lengthens. The atmosphere grows charged. She senses something different in your interaction, activating her instinct. She begins feeling physical, emotional, and psychological attraction simultaneously. When these three layers merge, connection peaks. But you still don't rush. Power lies in lacking anxiety. You watch her lips as she speaks, but don't kiss immediately. You place a hand on her waist, but don't pull forcefully. You bring your face near, but let the moment breathe. This pause creates electric tension. Her body wants a next step, but you control the timing. And when a man controls timing, he controls intensity. Then something fascinating happens. She starts acting to make your move easier. She stands closer, touches you more, glances at your lips. Her body becomes more accessible. The feminine leads when it desires, and she begins to lead unconsciously. This is where connection surpasses strategy and becomes natural, fluid, inevitable. And when the kiss happens, and it will, it's not explosive or chaotic. It's slow, deep calm, mirroring everything you built. It's a kiss confirming all she felt, imagined, desired. It seals a psychological bond. After that, you're fixed in her mind. After the first kiss, something irreversible shifts inside her. Theory becomes reality. Reality confirms what her imagination constructed. This moment is critical, defining whether the connection remains an intense experience or becomes a deep, solid, unbreakable bond. Here, you must act with the same precision used thus far. The common mistake is seeing the kiss as the final goal. In strategic connection, the kiss is just the start of emotional fusion. What matters now is your behavior afterward. Typical men change. Some become needy, others overconfident, others start marking territory. You do none of that. You keep the same rhythm, calm, centered energy. This creates a powerful sense that you aren't destabilized by the moment, affected just enough without losing your axis. This skyrockets your perceived value. She thinks of you even more. The kiss becomes a sensory anchor. Your calm becomes an emotional anchor. Together, these forces make her replay the moment, crave the touch, desire more. Women connect deeply through sensations, and you've activated several. From now, your presence becomes more addictive. At this stage, maintain the game of tension and release. Don't disappear, that's childish. Don't cling, that destroys your work. Remain present but never anxious. She talks, you reply naturally. She sends hints. You notice but don't react predictably. She shows desire. You match it in proper dose. This dance makes her feel the connection is solid yet vibrant. Next, deepen physical contact. Don't skip stages. Don't accelerate. The most powerful connection matures like fine wine, not a flash. Create more intentional moments of closeness. When walking, let your hand brush hers. When sitting, stay nearer. When she laughs, guide her lightly by the waist. These micro-gestures trigger biological responses. Her body starts linking your presence with pleasure, comfort, desire. The more she feels this, the deeper she surrenders. But in the feminine world, surrender isn't only physical, it's emotional. She begins discussing feelings unconsciously. She asks your opinion on personal matters. She subtly seeks your validation. This means you become a reference point. And being her reference is the apex of connection. It means she gauges her emotional world through you. Here, you can and should lead with more intensity. Aligned masculine energy isn't aggression. It's direction. Not brute force, but clarity. She wants you to lead, to take steps, to guide progression. She won't say this outright, but will show it through unmistakable signs. Prolonged eye contact, constant proximity, increased touch, open body language. When she demonstrates this, escalate touch elegantly. Hold her face when kissing. Wrap her waist with more intention. Draw your body closer. Still slow, controlled, deep. The energy of strategic connection is an explosion. It's magnetism. The more you control intensity, the more she melts. Then comes something most men miss. Psychological consolidation through controlled vulnerability. This is one of the most powerful, delicate moments. A deeply involved woman wants some reciprocity. Not that you're in love, but that you're not made of stone. Here, you open small, real human cracks. Share something intimate, true, showing you have layers, something few know, not something weakening you, but something humanizing you. Done right, this creates a devastating emotional bond because she feels you chose her to access a part of you the world doesn't see. When a woman feels truly chosen, she surrenders deeper, not from manipulation, but from genuine connection. At this point, the relationship enters shared intuition. She starts knowing what you'll say before you say it. She reads your mood from your eyes. She senses your energy from a distance. This is emotional fusion. Few connections reach it. It's when you stop being just a man. You become a complete psychological experience. Then comes the subtlest, most dangerous moment, confirming continuous desire. She wants to know if you want her as much as she wants you, but she won't ask. She'll test you, create scenarios, craft small moments, not to break you, but to reassure herself. And you, with strategic calm, navigate each test with elegance. No fear, no anger, only balance. With every test passed, the bond deepens. With every signal given, her desire rises. With every show of firmness, her trust expands. This is how a woman moves from attraction to involvement to emotional loyalty. Loyalty born from admiration, not obligation. The final phase is when everything is established yet feels unforced. It's when she doesn't merely desire you. She chooses you with conviction, even if unspoken. Here, the game isn't about convincing or impressing. It's about preserving magnetism, deepening the bond, and making the experience unforgettable. This is where your presence becomes an emotional necessity, where the connection feels incredibly effective. Now she's fully connected. Her body responds to your touch, her mind to your presence, her emotions to your silence. You're an internal reference, a point of stability she wants near. But don't relax or change. Consolidation now requires even more precision. 1. Stable masculine energy. She must feel that, regardless external chaos, you remain centered, confident, controlled, present. This isn't monotony, it's security. And security is an emotional aphrodisiac for the feminine. Every time she sees you unshaken by the world, desire renews. She feels she's with a real man, unswayed by external winds. 2. Comfortable mystery. She knows you now, understands your patterns, but hasn't fully decoded you. That's where magnetism lives. The secret isn't hiding things. It's having endless depth. Opinions she discovers gradually. Stories revealed as the bond strengthens. Desires emerging naturally over time. You're not an unsolvable riddle. You're a depth she loves exploring. Women fall for the depths they uncover, not surfaces handed to them. 3. Continuous sensory connection. Now it's not just kisses or touches. It's conscious physical presence. When hugging, hug firmly. When looking, look with intent. When touching her neck, do it slowly. When guiding her by the waist, guide with certainty. This lets her body memorize you, crave you, desire you. The feminine adores a man who knows how to lead. When you lead with that blend of softness and strength, she surrenders more each time. For crafting emotional memories, the long look in the car, the slow goodbye kiss, the deep 2 a.m. conversation, the shared laugh, the unexpected touch on her neck. These are emotional seeds blooming inside her. This is how you become unforgettable, not through grand gestures, but through micro-experiences repeated naturally, striking deep. There's no connection in exaggeration. Connection lives in the detail. Now we reach a fundamental weapon, silent emotional strength. You never need to say, I want you. She feels it. You never need to promise. She senses it. You never need to mark territory. She's already given it. Because at this stage, it's not your word speaking. It's your energy, how you stand. Keep composure. Hold eye contact. Decide the rhythm. She feels guided. And the feminine loves being guided by a masculine energy that's firm, calm, and aware. By now, you're part of her life. She includes you in small details, waits for your opinions, seeks your emotional validation. This is where most men collapse. They feel secure and relax their posture, presence, intention. Not you. The difference between connecting with a woman and keeping a woman is strategic consistency. Your posture stays impeccable. Your gaze stays deep. Your humor stays sharp. Your presence stays grounded. She must feel the man who connected with her is still there, unchanged. And here the most powerful bond emerges, spontaneous emotional loyalty. Not forced, not verbally committed, but an internal truth she creates. I want this man, and I don't want to lose this. Emotional loyalty is born when a woman realizes she's found a rare man, and that trading him would be an emotional downgrade. You don't ask for exclusivity. She offers it. You don't demand priority. She gives it willingly because you're part of her emotional world. The most fascinating part? She doesn't feel manipulated, captured, or trapped. She feels chosen, valued, seen, understood, all because you guide the process with intelligence, depth, and elegance. Connecting with a woman so seamlessly it feels incredibly effective isn't sorcery. It's not pickup tricks or dirty games. It's applied psychology, controlled energy, conscious presence, strategic calm. It's understanding how women operate and offering what activates the deepest parts of their emotional blueprint. In the end, strategic connection doesn't end in domination. It ends in reciprocity. She doesn't feel conquered. She feels complete. Not used, but alive. Not manipulated, but understood. And you, by maintaining self-command from start to finish, become the man she wants, not just from desire, but from admiration, connection, and deep respect. This is the absolute power of a connection that feels almost too potent. She chooses you. She desires you. She follows you emotionally. And she genuinely believes it was all her choice. That is the art. If this gave you a new perspective, show your support. Like this video and explore more on Winds of Thought. Your journey is just beginning. Perceived value feels genuine. Displayed value feels artificial.